Okay, here we are in Pipedrive, and we will take a look at the overview and get familiar with using it in a hands-on and practical way. We have over here a bunch of sections, and we'll give a tour through those as the basic overview, and then we'll get into an actual workflow, so you can practice with these dummy deals and projects and get a feel for it in more depth. Cool, so over here in this sidebar is a section for deals. You can also get here by clicking on this P icon. And this is where initial stuff happens. Inquiry forms coming through and Phil's initial steps. Next down here is projects. And this is where the TAV team coordinates on things using a combination of these stages and tasks within each project. Then we can take a look at activities, and this is where particular actions might be lined up, as well as the visits themselves. And there's contacts that contains people and organizations. So those are the points to focus on. Let's dig into the deals section and get a feel for actual workflow. Cool, so we've got these three stages, and you might note that these have Phil's name and this says the TAV team. So when a form is filled out on the website, a new deal shows up here in this stage, this column. And that is the case with Example Co. And when Phil starts to do anything with it, what he'll do is bring it over into this column to know that he is doing some initial coordination. And whatever that process is, he may want to click into that deal so that he can see some of the details and edit those here, things relating to the person, things relating to the organization, etc. And a lot of this will be populated automatically based on the forms, and he can take it from there. He can also make some internal notes for his own reference and set his activities if he wants to set up a call at a certain time. This can show up in that calendar, etc. And with that said, there is a point at which Phil will hand this off to the TAV team. When that's the case, he'll drag that deal over to this column, to this stage. And by the way, whenever you're dragging these around, you can also drag things down here to delete, mark as lost, mark as won, or move it or convert it. So what we'll do is we'll click on this, and down at the bottom of this column, we can generate the project for Example Co. associated with the deal. We'll use the template provided so that that checklist will be available for the TAV team and fill in any related stuff that we want to fill out. For the most part, nothing too important. Probably mark whether it's virtual or in person, and probably maybe Kristen picks out the PLs. It's up to you. When we hit save, then something very exciting happens. This deal that's visible on the deal side will have a related project that is generated, and that is extremely exciting. I'm filling out the required fields so that that happens. The new project is created. I'll click on view and jump right to it in a new tab that's getting opened, and we can see those details here. And automatically, the entire checklist of the workflow and all the steps in the process has been created. And just to get our bearings, let's click on the project section here, and we'll see this flow where we've got each column as a stage, and within any one of these, we have a whole place to work. So in this stage, this column, this is where Kristen will know that it's her job to assign things. So let's go into this and see, these groupings of tasks are associated with the stages. Very cool. Kristen can assign the project to a PL, and she can move the project over to the phase coordinating. So what the heck, let's do that. We've got the place to put in PLs, and we'll pick them out. Let's put in the first one. You can put multiple ones in if you want. We'll hit save, and that step has been completed. We will mark as done, and don't even need to think about this stuff. We just follow these steps and we do it. Moving the project to the phase for coordinating, we know that in the project view, we could just click and drag it and drop it there. And it's also helpful to know that we could click here to move it to that stage. Let's do that. And we can see we just completed that step. Wonderful. So this progress bar is fully completed. We know this entire section's done. We could collapse that phase, get it out of our way, and focus on the next thing. And here's where the PLs who are identified, Allie in this case, can work through whatever steps that they want to or need to. These are all tasks. I mention that because there's one other kind, and that is an activity. And the visits pending stage has an activity, and this is important to know. This activity represents the visit itself. The actual visit, whether it's virtual or in person, whereby the author or presenter will go to that organization and or speak to them. And in order to make this more visible and clear, I'm going to make the due date, the date of the actual visit, a little closer. And we will take a cool look at that in a second. Great. So those are the important things to know for sake of the workflow. You can work out the details as you like in the template for your smoothest workflow possible, and that'll be really exciting as things get easier and easier. What I'd like to do is to also show here in the calendar some of these things happening. We have this subject, and in order to have a good sense for what we're doing, I will give it a name that is appropriate. That name is going to be, using your usual naming conventions. So normally you'd give this an actual name, and for now we'll call it example author and example school, but I just want to indicate as clearly as I can that we're looking at this particular activity when we go here to activities. Cool, so we've got example author and example school, and we can look at this in this list view. We can also look at it in the calendar view. And bear in mind that you also have another view where you can look at that, and that's very handy. And one thing that's extremely useful, thanks to the template, is you've got the notes all set up for you already in a template format where all you need to do is fill in the blanks. And this makes things extraordinarily simple, extremely approachable for the team to coordinate. Just follow this template, and these notes will be visible to whoever you share the calendar with, and the author can see at a glance everything they're doing, the school or organization can see at a glance everything they need to worry about, and it makes everything extremely useful, simple, and handy. So With that said, you've got the essentials and can do what you want to do to iron things out and practice coordinating, practice the workflow, and see what improvements you can think of based on how you manage and handle things. And I'll also mention, just for sake of reference, that it could be that some automations get set up um, as you find it to be useful and appropriate. The automations are at this uh, higher plan, but basically it could be that dragging a deal to this stage automatically generates the project. Things like that can be possible as well to make the workflow smooth and easy. So, hope you enjoyed this lovely walkthrough. Have a great time trying things out. You can certainly feel comfortable and free to generate or just like create new deals um, as you want and take it from the top. And you can also feel free to, edit, move them around, and delete the deals and the projects. These dummy deals are for you to practice, try things out, and experiment. Have fun, enjoy, and get a good handle on coordinating together. Great. Thanks.